Good morning, Jamalyn.
Good morning, Kim.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Chugging along.
I know. We are just a little bit more than a week away from Christmas.
We are. It's coming up fast, and we had the children's musical Sunday, so you know it's really Christmas when the children's musical is performed.
Yeah, they did such a great job, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it harder for you to get into the Christmas spirit when it's 50 degrees out?
No, because I appreciate the cold less and less.
Oh, me too.
So I'm kind of glad that it's not blustery and snowing.
I'd be happy to do Christmas in Florida.
Yeah,
I
too.
think
I
I
could
can
do it.
still celebrate the birth of Jesus in 75-degree weather.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I was there right at Thanksgiving, and lots of people had their lawns already decorated for Christmas, and they were definitely in the Christmas spirit, even though it was 80 degrees. But yeah, I don't mind it being a little bit warm.
Well, I don't either, mostly just because I hate the cold.
Yeah.
And you're right, as I'm getting older, I really hate the cold more.
I know, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it is Advent.
It is.
And we are headed into, let's see, what is this Sunday? Is this Sunday the pink candle, or do we just have the pink candle?
We just had it. I think this is the fourth
Yeah,
Sunday,
this is the fourth
though.
Sunday.
Yeah.
We're back to
Yeah.
purple. But you'll notice, listeners, you can't see, but I have a blue sweater on today. Kim and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago. The liturgical calendar has colors for each season. Uh-huh. And there's a huge debate out there. Is Advent, are you a purple person or are you a blue person?
Yeah.
I like to shake it up with blue.
I like blue, too. I mean, I'm used to mostly having purple in the places I've served, but I like blue, too, so blue works.
So we have our fourth Sunday, and then Christmas is in a weird time this year because it's actually on a Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we have a whole other week to get ready for it. A lot of times...
That's what it feels like anyway, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's the same number of days. It feels like I have, more time when it's on the weekend. Yeah.
Well, right now, Zionsville High School is taking finals, and Margaret is a sophomore. Mm-hmm. So last year, they didn't really have true finals because of COVID and the way they were doing school. So this morning, she had two of her hardest finals in the same day. God love her.
Yeah.
And, it's. I remember that stage of life where everyone's trying to get excited about Christmas, but you have this huge mountain to climb before you can even begin to think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So she was headed out. So they will have a whole week off school next week before Christmas, which is kind of fun.
It is fun. It's nice.
It gives you a lot of time for traditions.
Oh, yes. Yes, Christmas traditions.
So I thought it might be fun today, Kim, to talk about Christmas traditions that make us glad and Christmas traditions that maybe make us sad that we might like to, retire.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can honor and retire a tradition, and that's okay. Because that gives space to create a new tradition, right?
I do. And what I have heard a lot of people saying is last year, in some ways, people had to do Christmas totally different because we weren't really able to gather together like we had in the past because of COVID. And I think some people have realized some of the traditions that they held so dear, they didn't miss.
Right. They were kind of doing them out of obligation, or that's what we've always done.
Yeah.
And so everybody just trudges through. Yeah. That's one of, I think, the silver linings of being in COVID lockdown is we had some time to sort of discern, what's the real meaning of this and why are we doing it,
So I think most people do these traditions because they don't know in a way that they don't have to do them.
Right.
They're so ingrained in...
Yeah, lots of... I used to make a ton of cookies, right? But I don't want to eat a ton of cookies. And most people don't want to eat a ton of cookies anymore. So I make a few cookies, but not a week of cookie making anymore.
I used to make a lot of cheesecakes.
Yes, you did. I was thinking about that actually this week.
I know. And I don't know. This year, I just didn't feel like it. And there's a part of me, it always brought me joy to make them.
Yeah.
You know, I would have like Christmas movies on while I'd make them, and I would take a whole day to do them. And it would be like an assembly line kind of thing. Because I didn't make everybody like small cheesecake.
No,
like I would make big ones, and I would collect cheesecake tins through the whole year.
Yeah.
So my friends would all be able to have them. But this year, it feels more like a job to me. And I thought, I don't want to do it if I don't do it with joy.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm sorry, friends. I know.
No cheesecake.
I think,
cheesecakes?
I think part of it is everyone who doesn't know this, I had surgery over the summer to fix a weird defect in my brain. And part of it is that my smell is not 100%. And it's not really fun to bake if you can't smell.
It's not. That's part of the fun for sure.
And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take this year off.
Okay. We'll let you.
It feels okay.
Does that mean next year we can look forward to cheesecake?
I think so. Well, hopefully my smell is improving a little bit, but maybe next year. And the other thing is sometimes now I just make them during the year when I want to surprise someone.
Oh, yeah. I like that too.
So
you mentioned movies. So do you have a lineup of movies
I
that
do.
you always watch?
So I love White Christmas.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
I love, the other one I really love is Elf
Okay.
and Christmas Vacation.
Okay. Classics.
The one that I love that Margaret rolls her eyes, she's like, I cannot believe you love this, is, well, you tell me yours and I'll think of the name of it.
It's that thing happening again.
Now I can't think of it.
Memory.
I haven't done my crossword for the day to wake up my brain.
So we always watch Frosty the Snowman. We always watch
I forgot about that.
Rudolph, and it's so terrible.
Rudolph is really awful.
It's so terrible.
But it
we
feels
always
right.
Watch it. I mean, so much about it is so wrong today, but that's on the list. Miracle on 34th Street.
That's a good one.
White Christmas. So, yeah, we have a whole lineup of movies that we typically watch during the season, but some of them might need to be retired too, I'm thinking.
One of my favorites is a movie called Twas the Night Before Christmas, and it's like, I looked it up last night. It was made in 1976, so that gives you an idea.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite. It was like there were some mice that lived in the wall that his family was having some issue while the family of the house they were living in was having some issue. But they had great songs. So I was trying to sing one of the songs the other day to a friend of mine, and I could not get the words correct. She's like, I think your dedication to how wrong you are right now shows that this might actually be real. Because she's like, I've never heard of that movie.
Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so good. So movies are always fun. Did you ever do I feel like John's family probably does this. For Christmas, Santa, would you bring a mic for John? We really would like to get John in on this. John is our producer, filmer, the one who holds us together.
Yes.
Did you ever do the popcorn on strings where you thread?
Yes.
I never did. Did you,
Yeah.
John?
I love that.
My mom did growing up.
Oh. I feel like your family's doing that right now as we speak.
Yeah, it's fun. As an adult, though, I'm always thinking about, like, do I really want, like, food hanging on my tree?
Well, I think it's neat to think that's how they decorated.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and, what song is it that says, and presents on the tree, right? Isn't there a Christmas song that says
They used to
presents?
put them in the tree.
Exactly. Everything used to be in the tree.
right next to the candles that
Yeah.
they thought was a good idea to put in the tree.
And the oranges and apples.
Yeah. So basically your tree became a big barbecue.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think there are lots of those kind of traditions too with the popcorn. I just have never really.
Popcorn, cookies. Were there any special foods that you had only at Christmas, like at your grandma's house or something?
Well, my
like that?
grandma Pay, I know this is going to sound really crazy, but she always made chicken casserole for dinner.
Okay.
And I don't know why she picked that, but it was so good. And we only had it at Christmas.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you could maybe ask for it for your birthday dinner. But we always had it at Christmas. And I can't remember if it was really good, but it seemed good to me.
Yeah, it was special because
I'm sure it had a lot of cream of mushroom in it and different things like that. I'm going to see that side of the family cousins this Friday morning. I'll have to ask them what they think was inside
Oh,
of
if they remember the chicken casserole. Yeah.
So, what about you?
We always did Christmas Eve at my grandmother's, who was an amazing cook. So there was coconut cake was probably my favorite. Ooh. There was always like yellow cake with this really yummy chocolate icing.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of really good food. So coconut cake
sounds like an insulin
fest. Yeah, definitely.
I can't imagine why our grandmas all had diabetes later on.
Yeah.
We always went to my mom's house, and she always made mac and cheese that was to die for, and lots of stuff like that. So.
Lots of food. Too much food, really.
Too much food. Yeah. My Aunt Joanne would make noodles from scratch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she is just teaching her granddaughters how to make them now.
Okay.
From scratch, and yeah.
Noodles are big at Christmas.
But apparently noodles are just a Midwest thing.
Oh, really?
I was talking to someone who was from the South. Oh, no, it's my sister-in-law who grew up in Pittsburgh. I don't know. John grew up in Illinois, though. You went to school in Pittsburgh? John went to school in Pittsburgh, everyone. And she said she never knew, like, she's like, I never grew up putting mashed potatoes on another starch, on noodles. And I was like, well, then you weren't living. I don't know what to say to you.
Again, thankfully our eating habits have evolved to someplace better.
Oh, yes. Well,
yeah.
Food is always a really big thing. Now, what are you making that your grandkids will say, oh, my grandma always made that?
Oh, are you
Mimi?
I'm Mimi. Yeah. I got the sweetest call. I missed a FaceTime call, which when that happens, it's usually my grandchildren calling from their iPad. This is
our world. We talked about media last week.
Yeah. I called back, and Violet picked up, the 8-year-old, and I said, were you trying to reach me? Yes. I said, well, what did you need? Well, see, Asher made a gingerbread house at school, and he already ate it, and Lola made one, and she brought it home today, and I don't think we're making them in 3rd grade, but I think I remember we made them with you last year, and I was just wondering if we could make them with you again this year. So the gingerbread house kits are already at my house, and that was the plan. So I think making gingerbread houses will, for a while anyway, be one of our new traditions that we do. But it
oh boy,
made
that's
my
the
heart
stuff
sing.
where you're like, thank you for creating FaceTime, Steve Jobs.
Exactly. So our plan is to do that Saturday.
Okay, that's fun.
So that's a kind of a new tradition. And that too, like having a new generation of people in your family gives you an opportunity, I think, to look at what you do and figure out what's meaningful for everybody and to maybe change the traditions up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so we used to do gingerbread houses all the time at our house. Dave would do them with the kids, and I would support them.
By picking up
by
gumdrops.
being around. And it's funny, they did them here at church. Our youth group had a gingerbread decorating contest 2 Sundays ago, and Dave goes, hopefully we can just check that off then. And I thought, oh, that's so funny, but that's like the end. This is like one of the first years we've not made them.
Yeah, I figure, it won't last forever, but I'm going to milk it for all it's worth while they want to.
All right, so we got food.
Got food.
We got movies.
Movies, yeah.
What was your tradition growing up with presents? Are you a Christmas Eve family or a Christmas morning family?
So we were at my mom's mom, that grandma's, on Christmas Eve. We did Christmas morning at our house, and then Christmas Day dinner was at my dad's side of the family. So that's how we covered it when I was little. And what we do now is we have everybody on Christmas Eve for brunch. So that people can get home in time to go to their church services.
When you were serving a church, that worked really well for you.
Yeah, exactly. And so we do brunch on Christmas Eve, and we just kind of have a quiet adult Christmas morning, and then I go visit grandkids Christmas afternoon to see what Santa brought.
Yeah. It's funny, our Christmas Eve, Dave and mine, has changed a lot since I'm not serving at a church. I have to tell you, the very first Christmas Eve, I didn't serve at a church. I think we talked about this.
Yeah, we have talked about this.
I was so scared that I was going to be overwhelmed with emotions of not serving because one of the most holy moments, I think, for me as a pastor is Christmas Eve when everyone is holding their candles and I'm standing at the front of the church looking out at this congregation, of people who have invited us into their lives as pastors. And, I see like this family over here who I was with when their mom passed away, or this family, I did their baptism, I thought that's going to be so crushing for me to not be able to look out and see that. So I really had prepared myself for that. And Christmas Eve came and I went to one service and I had planned on going to another one, but I came home for something and all of a sudden it had occurred to me, I don't have to go back. Like, I have worshiped Jesus, and it was a real mild Christmas that year. At one point, I was on my front porch in our rocking chair and thought, no, I think I'm okay.
I'm good right here.
I mean, I still count all of those things I just said as very holy. But there's a season in everyone's life. Instead, I was at home. The kids were inside. We weren't rushing. I mean, almost it felt odd to not be chaotic.
Yeah, Christmas Eve for pastors is a really big day and a really busy day and lots of services and getting home at midnight.
Right.
Yeah, so, it is nice to get a little
It's just totally different. So, it was very funny to think, oh, no, I'm good.
I'm good,
I'm good.
Yep.
And I think I probably called Kim then and said, we need to talk about this in full detail right now on Christmas Eve to make sure I'm okay.
And I'm like, you're good. You're very good.
And Kim's like, I'm going to have to send you to voicemail.
Just let it all out.
I'm having my adult Christmas right now. Oh, well, it is a wonderful time of year. It can be very stressful for people, though, when they are with family.
Yeah, we should talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
So I think the hard part is people feel because it's Christmas, they have to be with family. And from my experience of talking with people, sometimes being with family is not always a great thing for people.
Right, exactly. It's a great time to like reassess what's a healthy boundary for you. If it's good for you, great. If it's not, like have a plan. Like I'm gonna just stay for half an hour, or I'm not gonna go at all. That's an option too.
Oh, now that's interesting. So have a plan. So like in your mind, you think I'm not gonna blow up the whole family by not showing up.
Right.
But I'm going to be there for a short period. That's your boundary.
Yep.
That's really great, Kim, because I think sometimes people think a boundary means yes or no.
Yeah, no, it can be something.
Like the boundary I'm making is I will go or I won't go.
Right.
But what you're saying is you can make a boundary within
And then
yes.
it's a great, another tip is like announce when you get there, I can't stay long.
Oh.
So that everybody's on notice that you're leaving shortly and nobody will be surprised by that. And
maybe don't even take off your
say,
coat.
Love you, bye.
I just came to hug everybody.
I just came to say Merry Christmas.
So, I love that.
Yeah, because holidays can be super stressful, for many reasons. Everybody's calendar kind of fills up with obligations for parties and gatherings and meeting this person here and that person there. And if you're the gifting kind of person, you've had to go out and do all that, and wrap and distribute and mail, and there's a lot going on. So,
I think sometimes there is this issue of with families, like how long do we keep doing gifts? And my brothers are coming to town this weekend, so. And we haven't all celebrated Christmas together, like all of us. I couldn't even tell you how long.
Oh, wow.
It might be over a decade, because Josh, my younger brother, served a church forever.
Okay. Yeah.
Then Dave and I were serving churches, and my older brother, Kyle, lives out east.
Okay.
So, it's just Christmas
You
was
were-
always very difficult.
Yeah.
And so, but we're able to do it this year. Josh is serving as a consultant with World Vision now. So he's not
Okay.
he's not serving a church. So they're all coming, but we haven't done gifts in forever that people are like, do we go back? Like,
Oh, yeah.
what do we do? I think we settled on a white elephant just to be
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a lot of fun.
But it is interesting to all be together after not being all together for about 6 years. So
that'll be interesting. Hopefully fun.
so pray for me, community.
Yeah, it'll be. You'll make it. You'll get
Shh,
through
don't
it.
tell my brothers though.
That I have some reservations about this.
I'm really excited because I love being an auntie. And so my niece and nephew will be at our house, and then my brother's 2 boys will be here. And so if it was up to me, I would just have all the nieces and nephew at the house and then send all the parents away.
Right.
We would have
That might
potato
work out
sack
for the
races,
parents, though.
and I would
Yeah.
again run the house like a youth group, and it would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
That-
We'd have
hey.
devotion time.
You might be able to actually talk your brothers into doing that.
I know.
Yeah.
So-
they might get a little. That might be the good Christmas gift for them. I'll
Well,
take
what
all the
happens-
kids.
When everybody comes to your house and you don't want them there. I'm not saying that for me. Just I was laughing thinking how you said, go in and just say, I can't stay for very long,
Right,
but then
yeah.
if you're the one hosting everybody,
yeah. Like,
it's a little bit different.
Well, the parties from this time to that time.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
So I think what I want really people to hear is that there is grace involved in holidays. And you're not unchristian and a bad person if you think these people make me crazy.
Yeah.
Relationships are very difficult. We've talked about how they're messy,
Yep.
that we're all human. And I mean, look in the Old Testament everywhere. None of those siblings got along.
None.
I mean, some are trying to sneak the other one out of a birthright.
Yeah.
The mom's involved. I mean, that's like gold today, right?
Right. Selling people off.
Yeah. And if you start to feel depressed or really struggling, there's a couple things for you. One, watch a Hallmark movie.
Watch Homework.
It always ends up the same.
It
You
doesn't
just
matter
stick
which
with
one,
it.
right?
You might have some angst in the middle,
Yeah.
but that coffee shop is going to stay open, and she's going to move back to the hometown.
It's going to have a happy
It's going to
ending,
be fine.
no matter what.
The other thing I want to just make sure we talk about is that December 21st is our longest night service. Why don't you talk a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so the longest night service is a service that's put together for people who aren't necessarily really jazzed up or happy about the holiday or really getting into all the merriment of the holiday, because people have experienced losses of people, of jobs, of relationships, of lots of things, or the holidays might be a time where they remember losses from the past. And so this service is just a way to acknowledge that. And sort of, it's usually very quiet and contemplative. There's time for meditation, and also, though, to hear the good word that even in our sadness or depression or fear, that God never leaves or forsakes us, that God is always with us and God is available to us all the time. So,
God says 365 times in the Bible, do not fear.
fear.
We
That's
learned that
right.
a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
And I do love that service on the 21st because it acknowledges that life is not a Hallmark movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending isn't always pretty and rosy,
Yep.
but that Jesus promises that he will be with us always.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I really love about that service is that people come together in a community where others are struggling, and they bring their grief with them.
Yeah.
And I read something recently where it said, when you're friends with someone who has gone through a loss, and this time of year is so hard because it feels like everything is in couples.
Yeah. Families.
That
yeah.
they said, when you invite them, you also invite their grief. To say, I know this is a really hard time for you. Please come. Don't feel like you have to be rosy and be,
Yeah.
and just little acknowledgments to people that this is a really hard time.
Yep.
And the other thing is, my grandmas have been gone for a long time now, a couple decades, but I still really miss them at Christmas because they were so dear to me at this time. And so, it's a time for me even at that service to remember them and to say thanks for all they did. And,
And I think that's important too. Like not only remembering, but naming.
Yeah.
Like just naming that I really miss my grandmothers at this time of year. I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. So that's on the 21st, and it's a Tuesday night. It's the longest day of the year is why that typically is, which is also the darkest.
Yeah,
so
the shortest day.
The shortest day. Sorry, the shortest day. Longest is in June. We'll talk about that later. So it's the shortest day of the year. It's a place to come. I think it's going to be a really beautiful service this year, and it starts at 7. It's in the sanctuary.
Yep.
At Zionsville United Methodist Church on Whitestown Road.
And it's a great opportunity, too, to invite someone that you know who's had a loss, who may not be a part of the Zionsville church community, really, but that are certainly welcome to come here and
that's such a huge point, because I have a good friend whose father-in-law passed away suddenly recently, and for some reason, one of the first things I said to her is, please make sure you mark this service on your calendar. I have a feeling Christmas Eve isn't going to feel right to you this year, but this service helps you remember the season, or, what we're really doing. Jesus was born for people hurting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not for the really fun hymn parts always, the real jazzy hymns.
I think we added those later.
Yeah. But for that night especially. Yeah. So I think that'll be really nice. So number 1, mark that on your calendar. Number 2, remember that there are traditions that make you glad and traditions that make you sad.
Yeah. And we're giving you permission to end traditions that no longer work for you.
Or take a break from them.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing cheesecakes this year.
Right. That's right.
Your cookies were really good, though.
Yeah. Okay. I
but don't let me look. No. You just claimed that you're not making them.
Yeah. I'm going to do something easier.
Well, you could get the break and bake.
Yeah.
And they have little trees in them, Christmas trees in them. Oh, my gosh, we didn't even talk about picking out a Christmas tree. Are you a real tree or an artificial?
Artificial.
We're a real tree. I would really love to be an artificial, but I have one person in my family that's holding out on us.
Okay.
And he tends to be the loudest when things don't go right. So none of us want to
deal with that.
Yeah.
So just keep getting a real tree.
Yeah.
He won't live there forever.
No, he will not. And the other day I was like, in 6 years, I'm getting an artificial.
Right, exactly.
Oh, children, such a blessing.
Yes.
Well, okay, so are we going to meet next week?
Yeah. We have church Sunday.
Because we've got one more Advent. So don't worry, everybody.
Yeah,
we're not taking a Christmas break just yet.
Yeah, nope, not yet.
Well,
speaking of, though, Christmas Eve, we have
because we're
services at 4, 6, and 8.
Yeah, so the 4 o'clock is a family-friendly service. I just want to say, when we say family-friendly, we mean family-friendly. You do not have to walk out with your child if the child wants to speak up and sing hallelujahs in the middle of a prayer. Like, I want families to understand that is a very loud service because we don't tell kids they have to be quiet.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's Christmas.
Now, 6 and 8's a different story. But the 6 and 8 are more traditional services, like you probably remember.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And then on Christmas Day, we're streaming our service.
Well, Christmas Day, we don't have anything. That's a Saturday. The 26th, we are doing a carol sing at 10 o'clock. And I think that's going to be fun.
I think that'll be fun.
But you can stay home and watch a 9:30 or 11, and it's actually a full service that's being pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So there's just so many ways to get to hear the good word. Let me just tell you.
Exactly. You don't even have to leave your house.
You don't have to leave your house or come on the day after Christmas in your PJs.
Yeah. At 10 o'clock, we'll be singing. So I think that'll be fun. I think we should do that.
I'm coming in my PJs.
All right. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Fuzzy slippers, the whole thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, Merry, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy Advent. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.